Hey guys, welcome back. So this is the Rowena that you guys have grown to know over the past couple of months or past couple of years. And I think it goes without saying that for as grounded and calm and at peace as I may seem now, and as much as it may look like I have my life together or not, whatever it is that you guys perceive, clearly I don't, considering how frequently I need to get my life together and how I'm still constantly stressing and anxious and overthinking a lot of things all at once. But that being said, just imagine who I was a couple years ago, or like 5 years ago, or even 10 years ago. I want to show you guys the iteration between Rowena 1.0 to Rowena 5.0, what happened, and how it's worth noting here that Rowena 5.0 isn't solidified. Like, this isn't gonna be who I am for the time to come. I'm gonna 6.0, 7.0, 8.0, 9.0, 10.0, like however many point O's it needs to go to, I will gladly let it go. All right, so starting with Rowena 1.0. Rowena 1.0 to 2.0, nothing deliberate happened, nothing specific happened. I can't pinpoint any one thing to be like, okay, this happened, so I started changing, or this happened, so da 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 da. Growing up, watching MTV, watching TV, watching reality shows, you see people doing things and you want to do it too. You see people drinking, so you want to drink. You see people doing drugs, so you get curious about that. You see guys and girls doing things, and you're like, oh, maybe I should do that too. So with all of that, Rowena 2.0. So with all of this, to give some context, my brother was not happy that I was hanging out with people who are older. My brother was not happy that I did not care about school. He was not happy that I spent all of my time going out and being out and partying and drinking. And he was not happy that I lied to my mom all the time. I lied to my mom so much. He was not happy that I stole a lot. Not that I couldn't afford things either, just like clothes from department stores or from the mall. I was working at the time, so like I could have afforded things if I wanted it, but it was just like the thrill of like being a rebel. I don't know, second child syndrome. I honestly have no idea what made me want to do these things, but I just did them. And he didn't like the guy that I was dating. He didn't approve of any of the things that I was doing, but because he was away in UC San Diego, there was only so much that he could do. Transition from Rowena 2.0 to Rowena 3.0, this was something that I had zero control over. This was something that I never in a million years thought would happen. This is something that just completely changed my life and flipped my world upside down. Exactly 9 years ago today, hopefully this video goes up September 10th of 2018, I got a phone call from my mom while I was at my best friend's house doing what we usually do, drinking. Probably they're smoking. I'm just hanging out. I never really like smoking, but I was just there. Got a phone call from my mom. Brother got in an accident. I should go to the hospital. Went to the hospital. My life changed forever. I've talked about this in detail in my previous video, so I won't go too far into it. But I will say that despite how sad and tragic and how like heartbreaking it was that my brother passed away at such a young age, I'm so grateful and thankful that it happened for me at such a young age, because that really was the catalyst. Like that was the single, had that not happened, I wouldn't be who I am today. Had that not happened, I would have still been like half asleep and like walking with blindfolds on in the dark and like trying to figure out who I am and like what's important to me. I don't mean to say that you need something so beautifully tragic to happen to you for you to change your life. It helps, and it helps to like push you along your journey, but it does help if you're able to find beauty in tragedy. If you're able to learn something from anything that happens to you, you can in turn make it a positive thing. And no matter how much I miss him, I know that he would be really proud of who I've grown to become. And I will share a bit later of how I feel like when I most of the time when I talk about my brother, it's like with this positive, happy, grounded, calm demeanor manner. And I'll get to that in a bit, because I've had some dreams and some visions, not like visions, but like I've had realizations, like a series of realizations that made me really at peace with everything. I was still partying and I was still being wild, but I was also more, I like started to tame down a lot. At least I knew the balance of I can play after I do what I need to do and I study and I get good grades or whatever. Outside looking in, it may have seemed that everything was fine, but like my world was crumbling. Like I was not okay. This is the beginning of a very dark time. And I feel like because I distracted myself with friends who deeply cared about me and wanted to make sure that I was okay, and I busied myself with studying and focusing on, you know, the right things, it allowed me to kind of like get by for the time being. The transition between 3.0 and 3.5 was the first time in my life that I wanted to do something for myself, and that is to transfer to a better school than the one I was currently at, which is UC Riverside. I knew going in that like I was going to transfer regardless if it took 1 year, if it took 2 years, if it took 3 years, like I'm going to transfer to a better college like USC or UCLA, UC Berkeley, the top UCs or like top private universities in California. Alright, so Rowena 3.5 looked like she was having a lot of fun. She looked nice with her makeup and her body and her dresses and stuff, but I was miserable. I was so sad. I was so unhappy. My weight fluctuated every other week. My mood fluctuated every single day. I was not mentally stable. I reverted back to old tendencies of just like busying myself with drinking, busying myself with friends, busying myself with partying, busying myself with going to raves, busying myself with enjoyment, like pure enjoyment for myself. Live for me and exist for just myself. And I was doing just that. I was just existing. I wasn't even living because I was so sad, like I just said earlier. And so during this whole time, it was always like, who am I? Who am I trying to be? Who can I be? What's important to me? What is my purpose? What is my life purpose? Why do I exist? Why do humans exist on earth? Why do we have the brain to think the thing we think and to do the things we do? I just didn't subscribe to the notion that you're born to live a good life, get good grades, go to a good school, get a good job, have nice things, buy nice things, have a nice family, and then you die. Like I feel like there's so much more considering how it's like 1 in a billion chance for us to be alive, to be like here, for me to sit here, for you to watch, for like, you know, for us to just live and for us to just be alive. There's a part of me that's deeply introspective and questioning these things, but then the easier thing to do was just to numb myself and to distract myself and to not think about these things and to just escape, because I don't know, these aren't lighthearted questions that you're just like, hey, so what is your life purpose? Like every night before you go to bed. That's heavy. Like it brings you down, especially when you have no idea where to look. So with like the feelings thing and like letting myself feel and why I was so sad, I talk about it in detail in How to Write Your Life Together. I'll link it up here. For the purpose of this video, it's already getting really long. I just realized one day like I didn't want to be sad anymore. So that was Rowena 3.8 actually. So during 4.0 was when I was in this constant internal battle of, okay, so this is the old Rowena that all your friends know that like is cool and is like one of the boys and cusses a lot and dresses a certain way and has this personality and this aura, whatever. And there's this new Rowena who in contrast is like very boring, very traditional, very conservative. I didn't know how to bridge that gap. What I just said, like traditional, conservative, over time, the more I got to know myself, the more I got to know what's important to me, what kind of life do I want to live, what kind of person do I want to become. I realized that it wasn't any of those things that I used to identify myself with. All of that, looking back, I didn't respect myself and I didn't value myself. And this isn't at all to say that if you dress like that or if you talk like that, that you don't value yourself. It's just for me, things that I came to the realization of, I realized all of that was a product of me not loving myself and me not knowing who I was. And now that I know who I am, I'm very happy with who I am. 4.0 Rowena, it was a lot of conflicting thoughts and ideas of who I should be, and it felt like I was living two separate lives because I became who I was, and then I didn't know if like my friends will accept me for that person. So it's like, do I meet in the middle? Do I not? And it caused a lot of conflicts, and then it was really painful. There's a lot of growing pain. Once I was able to let go of this, once I was able to shed this layer of expectations for my friends, expectations for myself, and like really make the two Rowenas into one Rowena, I fully blossomed into Rowena 5.0, which is the Rowena that you guys know today. Yeah, so this whole process has been a series of looking inward and reflecting and letting go of things that were holding me down, and most of these things were just limiting beliefs that I put on myself. It wasn't like a one thing happened to me and then I just became a new person. It was a series of things, an ongoing series that's gonna continue to keep going. This was a very prolonged process. I'm so glad that it happened. I'm so glad that I took the chance in myself to do things that were more unconventional. I'm so glad that I did all the things I did when I was younger, the things that I did, the way that I dressed. Like, I don't regret anything that I did, although I would probably not do any of those things now. If you were to put me in a time warp or just make me go into a wormhole and come out the other end, I'm back to where Rowena 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and if you want me to do those things, like, I probably wouldn't do it, but I don't regret doing those things because it helped lead me to where I am today, like I just said earlier. So I was gonna tell you guys a story. It's what really helped me make peace with everything that revolves around my brother. So this is during Rowena 4.0 era. When I first moved to New York, I was living in Brooklyn. My commute to work was about an hour. One night I stayed late at work. I was reading a lecture from the founder of Fallen Dafa, my spiritual practice. And it wasn't anything I read specifically that made me have this realization, but as I was reading, a thought just like, boop. And I was like, okay, what is this thought? What are you trying to tell me? And the thought was like, what if you and your brother signed a pact in your previous life, and the pact or the agreement was that he would depart earlier so that it could wake you up, and it will help motivate and encourage you to do what the both of you promised to do and like set out to do. When I had that thought, I was just like, whoa, what if? And ever since then, whenever I thought of him, it became a happy thing. It became a positive thing because it served as an encouragement and reminder for me to keep doing what I'm doing, to keep creating what I'm creating, to keep trucking along, treading along, running along, sprinting along, to do what I need to do. And I think that's why I work as hard as I do, and that's why I don't sleep much and I work so much, because I'm not doing this for me, I'm doing this for the both of us. And so the responsibility, it's like double the responsibility. I also had a dream a year ago today. This one was Thanksgiving. Our whole family's there already. Everyone's happy and laughing and eating. And the doorbell rings. And we're like, who could it be? Everyone's here already. So I go get the door. I open the door. I was like, oh my God, Clement, what are you doing here? So my brother's standing in front of me. We start catching up. I'm like, dude, how have you been? What are you doing? And I just remember he turns to me and he's like, hey, I'm so sorry I haven't been the brother I've always wanted to be for you, but I'm back. So I'm gonna help you now. I woke up bawling. Like, I was crying so hard. So this was like September last year. Around December, 2-3 months later, was when my channel first started getting picked up by YouTube's algorithm. And I'm not saying that like my brother is helping me get more views and subscribers, but the timing of how everything happened and the fact that I had a dream about him on his 8th year anniversary. A year has gone by and I'm reflecting on how much I've changed, how much my life has changed, how I went from struggling trying to figure out what I was gonna do with my channel, what content to make, where like what direction I'm gonna take this, to now having a very clear path of self-care, productivity, talking about what's important to me. So with all of that, it really was through a series of continue letting go, opening up my heart and myself to something greater, And for me, that happened to take form in my spiritual belief, which really instilled the tenets of unconditionally looking inward, being a good person. What does it mean to be a good person? Live by the principles of truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. And also all of that combined. And honestly, mom, if you're watching this, you're actually watching this. My mom watches every single one of my videos. I love you. Thank you so much for reminding me when I was lost of what's important to me, and for instilling these principles in me ever since a young age, because it eventually led me to today and here. Just so much more like grateful and happy to be alive, and just cherishing myself and value myself so much more than I used to. So yeah, I hope these two little stories at the end, and like me being like epic teary-eyed, makes you guys feel something, gives you some sort of hope or encouragement that if you want to do something with your life, if you want to change your life, the only thing that's stopping you is yourself. Like, really. And I think the moment you realize that, the moment you're able to break through from that, will be when you go from version 5.0 to 6.0 in my case. And in your case, we're all on our respective paths. So I didn't want to be like 1.0 to 2.0, because I feel like you guys have been through more iterations than one. So yeah, seriously, thank you guys so much for being here, for being able to share such a meaningful day with me. And I hope, I don't know what I hope. I'm just gonna give you guys a hug, because I need a hug. I'm gonna hug RJ. How to change your life? Keep looking inward, letting go of attachments, find something greater to believe in for yourself, and don't be afraid of letting people in, or letting something in, letting anything in. And don't be afraid. Change is uncomfortable, but nothing good in life comes at no cost. So you got this. We got this. Excited to see what form Rowena 6.0 will take, and I'm excited to take you guys along, and I'm excited to hear about your guys' progress. Sending you guys so much love. I love you guys. Love, 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 love. Okay, bye.